All right, today we're digging into a massive change that's shaking up the advertising world. We're talking about Meta's huge shift, the Andromeda up.
So let's just get right to it. The question that's probably on your mind is, why did my Meta ads suddenly stop working? And listen, if you're feeling that, you're not imagining things, and you're definitely not alone. Something really fundamental has changed.
But here's the thing, and this is the crazy part. The algorithm isn't actually broken. In fact, from Meta's point of view, it's working better than it ever has. The reality is, the rules have just completely changed. It's a whole new game, and we need to figure out how to play it.
I mean, for years now, it's been the same frustrating story for so many advertisers, right? You have these campaigns that you've absolutely perfected, your most reliable ones, and then, bam, suddenly they're inconsistent, they're unpredictable. It's just a massive headache. Just think back for a second to how things used to be, right? Success on Meta was this super technical exercise. It was all about audience targeting, finding those perfect interests, building these hyper-specific lookalike audiences, and just drilling down on demographics until you had this predictable money-making machine. And then, pretty recently, it's like that all just fell apart. Those strategies that you knew worked, they started failing. Those reliable results, they turned into this crazy roller coaster of amazing days and then absolutely terrible days. It left marketers completely baffled.
So what's behind all this chaos? Well, it actually has a name, Andromeda. And look, this is not just another little algorithm tweak. No way. This is a massive, fundamental shift in the architecture of how Meta's entire ad system works. And it's all being powered by a way smarter AI.
Okay, so what is it exactly? Well, at its core, Andromeda is this incredibly powerful AI. It uses what are called deep neural networks to look at millions, literally millions, of potential matches between an ad and a user. And it does this in real time. It's going so far beyond simple demographics. Now it's analyzing behavior, context, even the creative elements of the ad itself, all to find that one perfect fit.
And this right here, this is the most crucial point you need to get. Meta is no longer just finding people for your ad. That's the old way. Now it's finding the perfect ad for each person. See the difference? It's all about optimizing for what they call message relevance. It's matching your creative to a user's specific mindset in a specific moment.
And that leads us to the single biggest strategic shift you have to wrap your head around. Seriously, the game is not about who you target anymore. It's about what you say. It is all about the creative. So let's break down exactly what that means for you.
This change didn't just happen in a vacuum. It was kind of a perfect storm, really. You had two powerful forces coming together at the same time. On one hand, you had all the privacy updates, from Apple that caused this massive signal loss. That made the old school targeting way less effective. And then at the very same time, Meta's own AI was getting exponentially more powerful, which gave them a brand new way to solve that exact problem.
This slide really nails the strategic shift. So let's look at the old game. The focus was the audience, right? The big question was always, who should see this ad? But in the new game, the focus is the message. The question is totally different. Now it's, what message is going to resonate with someone right now? It's a huge difference.
Let me put it bluntly. If you're still clinging to the old ways of doing things, it's a losing strategy. It just is. If your team is spending hours upon hours obsessing over finding that one perfect interest combination, I'm sorry, but you are officially playing yesterday's game. Okay, so we get the problem, we get why it's happening. Now for the good stuff, the solution. Let's talk about what the winning playbook actually looks like in this new age of Andromeda.
First off, let's be super clear about why the old campaign setups just don't work anymore. These hyper-segmented audiences, these super complex campaign structures with a million ad sets, only testing one or two ads at a time, all of these things literally starve the new AI. You're limiting its ability to learn, to find the best way forward. You're basically tying one hand behind its back.
So the new structure, and this is kind of ironic, it's actually much simpler. You want to consolidate into fewer campaigns, but with bigger budgets. You want to target broader audiences. Yeah, you heard me right. Go broad. And the most important piece of all, you have to feed that machine a really diverse library of creative. And the logic behind this is really simple when you think about it. This whole consolidated structure, it gives the AI the two things it craves most: a giant pool of data and really strong conversion signals. By going broad, you're just letting the algorithm do the heavy lifting. You're letting it find the patterns and match the right ad to the right person at the right time.
Which, of course, brings us to the single most important lever you have left to pull, and that is winning with great creative. This is where the human element comes back in. This is where your strategy, your ideas, and your storytelling can really truly shine.
And let's be crystal clear about this. Testing a blue button versus a green button, that is not a creative strategy anymore. Not even close. That whole era of lazy, minor optimization, it's over. Those tiny little tweaks just don't give the AI enough distinct data to learn anything useful. What it needs, what it's hungry for, are fundamentally different ideas.
So instead of these tiny variations, you need to be testing completely different concepts. For example, try an ad that's all about emotional storytelling. Then, pit that against one that's purely educational, just informative content. Test a classic problem-solution story against a powerful customer testimonial. You see? Each one of these speaks to a totally different user mindset, and that gives the AI this rich, amazing palette to work with. So, is there a magic number? Well, yeah, kinda. The data shows pretty consistently that campaigns running between 4 and 6 genuinely distinct creative concepts almost always outperform the ones that are just tweaking little variations of the same idea. So think of that as your new benchmark. 4 to 6 different ideas. That's a successful creative test now.
All right, so as we start to wrap this all up, what's the big takeaway here? It's that your new competitive advantage, your real edge in this new AI-driven world, is your story.
Look, the brands that win in this new era, they are not going to be the ones with the most complicated, super granular technical targeting setups. That whole skill set, it's honestly becoming obsolete.
No, the winners will be the ones who tell the most compelling stories. It's really that simple, and it's also that profound. Your success, from here on out, depends on your ability to craft messages that actually connect with people on a human level.
And that leaves us with one final big question to think about. As AI takes over more and more of the technical side of advertising, all the buttons and levers, is your unique brand story the only real defensible advantage you truly have left?